Okay, we always love to give you a preview of our latest episode of Influencers with Andy Serwer. He is our Yahoo Finance editor-in-chief. This week, Andy sat down with Kind CEO Daniel Lubetsky, as in Kind Bars. And Andy joins us now from Yahoo HQ in Sunnyvale, California to discuss. Hi, Andy. Tell us about it.
Hey, Dan. Good to see you guys. Daniel Lubetsky, what an interesting guy. And of course, Kind Bars, could they be more ubiquitous? I mean, you see them everywhere. But it's an interesting company, and this guy's got a really very unique background. His father was a Holocaust survivor and then moved to Mexico, and that's where Daniel grew up, and he emigrated to the United States. And a success story, he started the company himself. And he's also very politically active and politically tuned into what's going on in the United States and around the world. And I spoke to him about the political environment in the United States, where he talked about polarization that's going on in our society. Take a listen.
The problem in our society is that we're getting hijacked by extremism. Across the world, the rise of totalitarianism and thugs and dictators, and in the United States, the increasing strength of the extremes. And the reason for that is that this tiny amount of extremists wake up in the morning and they think, how can I advance my cause? And they want to stop at nothing to advance their cause. And the vast majority of people are moderates, but they wake up in the morning and they think, what can I have for breakfast? And that's the fundamental challenge that moderates have, that unless they recognize that they have a responsibility every day to speak up, to be heard, and to do something to build that center, to build the ability for people to listen. And extremists versus moderates is not whether you're from the left or whether you're from the right or whether you're from the center. It's anybody. You can be a conservative and be able to listen to the other side. You can be a progressive and be able to listen to the other side. It's when we stop listening and we think that we have all the answers that we start getting into trouble.
Quite honestly, you guys, you hear people talking about this kind of thing and these problems. And, I understand he's framing it, but I don't hear a lot of solutions out there in terms of ending polarization and having people being able to talk and listen to each other, right?
Yeah, I agree, Andy. And now my first thought when I saw him even mention this and talk about extremism is we're in a time right now where more and more companies, even though they've always been reluctant to get political, they're starting to say things. CEOs come out and they make remarks like this, and very often it can backfire because our country is so politically divided. Did that strike you at all, that he was willing to talk about that topic? Sometimes companies don't even want to touch things like this.
Yeah, and he did sort of, that particular clip that we heard, basically every CEO would say that. It's completely non-controversial that everyone should get together and talk. But in other parts of the interview, Dan, he did say, for instance, that he was opposed to President Trump's immigration policy. So he did put himself out there. And you're right, you kind of take these stands as a chief executive and you potentially alienate, 50% of the customer base in the United States. On the other hand, if you feel passionately about something, I think it's probably incumbent upon yourself to just go out there and make sure that your point is getting across.
Andy, while you're out there in Sunnyvale visiting our Yahoo headquarters, what else are you seeing in Silicon Valley?
Well, it's hard to really explain to people, unless you're sort of here on the ground, just the amount of money and commerce that's going on in Silicon Valley still. And, if you think about it, you guys, really it's been sort of almost a 20-year run of, up and away for Silicon Valley, because what happened in 2008 and 2009 really didn't have very much to do with what was going on here. And really, the last downturn was, 1999 and 2000. And so the boom continues unabated. And, if you think about it, the TV show Silicon Valley is about how over the top this place is. And it still very much is the case. You hear, of course, about, Washington's coming and going to regulate big tech. But otherwise, it is just the land of Porsches, Teslas, Mustang convertibles, and a lot of money. And of course, on the other side of the coin, though, there are the have-nots, and you see that around the valley as well, sort of, not something that people want to put forward, but it is very much the case that there are two sides to Silicon Valley as well.
Two sides is right, Andy, and all the regulation talk, for now, just talk. Thanks so much.
Thanks.
Now, be sure to catch the full interview with Daniel Lubetsky, the CEO of Kind, that is Kind Bars, tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern. The whole interview will play live on yahoofinance.com.